Thanks to the support as a channel member, Dan Miles. Well, we go into the final 2 games of the season. It's still possible for us to finish anywhere between 4th and 8th in the Premier League. That means there is a scenario where we end up in the Champions League, a scenario where we end up in the Europa League, the Conference League, or no Europe at all. And we play 2 teams who are also in the top 8 with us. I mean, this could get very... Did I mention we're doing a completely new tactic as well? Hello and welcome to Club 2, part 29 of Non-League to Legend. I'm Kevin. Coming up on today's episode, we have our final 2 games of the season against Wolves and Arsenal in the Premier League. As you can see, well, in fact, things have changed. Things have changed because inexplicably we're in a 7:45 kickoff on a Saturday. There's been Premier League football already today. One moment. What's gone on here? There's already been... Why are we... Who plays at 7:45 on a Saturday? So we've already had a full round of fixtures. This... I don't think we can get in the Champions League anymore. Hold on. No, we can't. Because of results going against us. Can we... We can still finish 5th. Can we... Right, hold on. We can still finish as low as 8th. It confirms there. We can still finish as low as 8th. We play Arsenal on the last day, who can't catch us. In fact, Wolves can't catch us. Oh, they can because they've got a game in hand. This is all very complicated. Since the last episode, we have won twice. We changed to the 4-2-3-1 that you saw us pull out in the second half against Tottenham. It looked good then. It's looked good since. Leicester and Watford have both been dispatched with our first wins in the league since February. And now we just need to hope that we continue that newfound good form with our newfound good system. Haaland's got 42 goals this season. It's what is the point? And qualify for Europe. Europe of any flavour would be a massive success as far as I'm concerned. So this is our team. Let's just shuffle Rafa around onto a playmaker instruction. We're going to go 2 playmakers. We've done it a couple of times mid-game. We've actually been playing Frangolo as a ball-winning midfielder in there, or Santos as different options, but I need to get Rafa back into the midfield because Rafa is too good not to be playing and can play this deep-lying playmaker role. This system also means we're missing out on having Juan in the midfield as well, and we only have 2 strikers at the club, Watson and Reyes, because Tamang is out on loan at the moment. And of course, we sold Adam Eder in January. So with Watson now reinventing himself as a midfielder, and a very good one too. He's played the last couple of matches in this attacking midfield role. We've now discovered why he's supposedly the best player at the club. A goal and an assist against Leicester and an 8.5, 2 assists against Watford and a 7.8. Watson is very much an attacking midfielder and will stay in that role, which means we need another striker this summer unless Tamang comes into the first team squad. We will have to figure that out if this is going to be our system going forward. But it's working well so far. I'm not completely convinced by Rafa as a deep-lying playmaker. I think probably long-term, it's Rafa as the box-to-box midfielder and maybe Juan as the playmaker if we go with a playmaker in here, or we play someone like Santos or Scott as more of a ball-winning midfielder in central midfield. But we're going with Rafa and White today because it seems very harsh to drop Harvey White, as he is one of our top scorers this season and is in good form. And so we've got Blanco at the base of the midfield. We might as well. He's a sweeper keeper. We don't have a base in the midfield anymore. Blanco is it. So Blanco in goal. A back four of Marin, Valente, De Klerk and Walters. Rafa and White in midfield. Sartori, Watson and Ross then supporting Reyes up front. All eyes on Jim Watson today. He has been fantastic playing as this advanced playmaker in the attacking midfield position. We've obviously been misusing him all season long, and he's playing so well, it probably is worth replanning the entire system around to make sure we can play him in this role that he looks so very good in. I am still wary. I think I mentioned it in the last episode. My concern with this system is not playing with a defensive midfielder. It does make us more defensively susceptible. I think defensive midfielders are massively important on FM23. We don't have one, and we've already conceded a goal. I'm not going to blame the lack of a defensive midfielder on us conceding a goal, but yeah, I mean, that's not ideal, is it, to have conceded a goal early on? This could cause us problems. European qualification spots do go all the way down to 7th place because of how the cups have worked out. So I think 7th place is Conference League, 5th and 6th are Europa League. So we are hopeful, but there's so many teams with games in hand behind us. We just need results. If we win both of our matches, we'll finish 5th, and then we'll definitely be in the Europa League. And that's what we've got to be aiming for. And Ross has been fouled in the penalty area here. Referee is just checking with VAR. If this gets disallowed, I will be very upset. It hasn't been. We have a penalty. It's going to be Harvey White with the opportunity to draw us level again. He is he's quite useful from the penalty spot. He hits a good penalty, and it is 1-1. Preston 1, Wolves 1. White with his 11th of the season now as a defensive midfielder. Yes, he takes the penalties, but goodness, that's why we've made the midfield a little bit lopsided to force him in somewhere, because we got rid of a lot of our leaders and a lot of our more senior players in January. He is probably the most senior player, certainly the longest serving player left in this team. I don't want to phase him out just yet, even though I've just described to you at the start of this match my long-term plan for him not being in the team, because he's too old at 26 or whatever he is. We want to go with our young fancy Spanish players, because why wouldn't we? Right, Marin has got the ball here on the left-hand side, plays it back to Valente, and now Rafa. Not really comfortable with Rafa playing as the deepest midfield player, but needs must. We want to give it. We don't want him to get upset at lack of game time. Did he give the ball? I don't think he did give the ball away there, did he? But they have scored relatively easily again. We looked very good against weaker opposition playing this 4-2-3-1. I do wonder if we're going to be able to do it against the stronger opposition without a defensive midfielder, when we know just how important defensive midfielders are. Because I would argue that position there where they've picked up the ball, that's where Juan would have been standing if he was in the team. Right, de Klerk with the header, and it's flipped over by the Wolves goalkeeper. And we could do with another equaliser here, please, chaps. I don't know what to do against Arsenal now on the last day. Do we go back to having a DM? Is the diamond the future? But then Ross is... We tried the diamond before. We were using the diamond last season, was it? We tried the diamond. We ended up playing Ross up front for half a season because we were playing a diamond, and it was a disaster. And it kind of ruined Ross for half a season. But playing with no DM at all also seems problematic. A mistake by Rafa. He is not the man to play in that role, is he? That's my worry. He's been one of our best players for 2 years. But I don't know that there's a space for Rafa in this system. Which, then we've got to decide what's most important, getting the best out of Watson or getting the best out of Rafa. Rafa with the ball over the top, looking for Reyes, but can't find him. And there you go. See, he did some defending there. Did some covering there. Maybe he's just got to get used to playing the role. I worry. Juan playing there with the knocking the ball back with the defenders, I never had a problem with. Rafa, it does worry me a little bit. Reyes has got us a goal back, though, just on the stroke of half-time. It's not all over yet. It's 3-2 as we hit half-time. We need to turn this around in the second half, but it is not all lost. We certainly look a lot better going forward playing this system. What we really need is a 12th player. Maybe we really do need to put Blanco at the base of the midfield and not play with a goalkeeper, because I'd like to play this system going forward, but the other system defensively. If that could be arranged, I think if we were allowed to play with 12 players, we'd probably win the league. Right, Watson to Valente, and now White plays it forward, looking for Sartori, who tries to find, in fact, finds Ross. It's a lovely pass from Sartori, and Ross probably needs to do a little bit better there. He's got the chance to draw us level, our captain, and does miss a relatively easy opportunity. And it's Blanco now finding de Klerk, who's going to try and build this up out of defence, plays it forward for Ross. We know he can hit a lovely through ball from there. It's gone over the top to Sartori, who nods it down for Reyes, who couldn't quite get enough power behind it. He's kind of tried to poke it under the goalkeeper, but the goalkeeper just gets a touch on it, and it didn't have the power to carry it through, and it goes behind for a corner. And White looking for de Klerk at that far post, but can't find him. Ross wins it back. Reyes has been fouled there. It's another penalty. We have a second penalty of the match. Reyes brought down in the area. I mean, ref, there's no need to check with VAR. It was clear. I could see from here that was a penalty. It has been given, and it's Harvey White with another opportunity to score from the penalty spot for us. White, this time, I mean, did we learn nothing from the World Cup? Why have we let him take a second penalty? Oh, the Spursiness shines through. The former Spurs man taking the second penalty, and he's learnt well from Harry Kane, clearly. Right, we're going to attack him. I don't know what to do now. That's going to knock the confidence out of White. There you go. He's down to a 6.5, even though he'd already scored. I mean, look at our XG. Oh, my word. We are good going forward in this system. We're just not quite prolific enough. I know we've had 2 penalties, but that doesn't get you to a 4 on XG. But Ross has just got it's a very similar chance to the one he had earlier on. I think he did better with it the first time, but the goalkeeper just doesn't get proper contact on this. It's 3-3. There's half an hour to go, and Ross looks alive in this system. That's so poor from their goalkeeper. It's 3-3. I mean, go for it now, boys. I'll win, and we're as good as in Europe. If not, I mean, I can't do the maths in this situation. A win and we're basically there, though. We might even mathematically be there with a win. Right, we're going to bring on Juan to play alongside Rafa. White can come off having missed the penalty. And Marin is playing poorly on a yellow card. Likewise, Valente. So Jovic can come on for him there. A couple of easy substitutions to make. We're going to offer some encouragement. Come on, boys. Have we got a winner in us? Right, trying to do the maths and taking into account games in hand. I think if we win, we're definitely in Europe. We might even be in Europe with the draw. It's all very complicated. And we're going to bring on Antas for Watson, who is tiring. Walters is going to come off for Frangolo. Actually, no, he's not. We're going to bring on Stevanovic. We're going to change up the attackers. We're trying to grab another goal here. Let's get the freshest attackers on the pitch that we possibly can, in the hope that we can grab a goal. Stevanovic floating into that far post for de Klerk, who's usually so dangerous from set pieces, but can't keep his header down. And it remains 3-3. I just can't do the maths. We will be 8 points ahead of Wolves. They've got 2 games played. This should be enough. I think this qualifies us for Europe of one kind. I don't know that this guarantees Europa League, but I think we are in Europe now. I think it depends on what Chelsea do. Maybe. Right, we've definitely qualified for the Conference League. We could still qualify for the Europa League, depending on how other results go and what happens on the last day. So we can finish anywhere from 5th to 7th. So if Chelsea win their game in hand, we then just need a point on the last day, depending on what happens with goal difference. Chelsea presumably play again before we play. So Chelsea play Newcastle, who have nothing to play. Mind you, they've got extra games in hand. I'm not even going to try. It's too complicated. Bottom line, we play Arsenal on the last day, away from home. Let's just beat them and get into the Europa League, because that's what we want to play in next year. Well, the very next day, and we're in. I don't know what happened. Newcastle drew with Chelsea. So they were 2 teams who potentially could have caught us, I think. And yeah, there you go. We can't finish. Chelsea can't catch us now. Wolves already couldn't catch us. So that is enough to guarantee us top 6. We're either going to finish 5th or 6th. So still the opportunity to play for 5th place. And we've now got budgets as well. Now, bear in mind, if we are changing the system around to this 4-2-3-1, we're probably going to have to sell a midfielder or 2 in the summer. We need at least 1 more striker bringing in. We could probably do with freshening up our fullbacks again. Love a fullback. We'd like a big budget. We're going to be in Europe. I am quickly falling more and more in love with this football club. We never have to leave. That is such a huge budget, both in terms of transfers and wage budget. I mean, everything is looking pretty good. And we're in Europe next year. We are rich. Oh, we're going to have fun tomorrow for this transfer special. But first, let's beat Arsenal. Let's confirm 5th place, because we'd like that prize money, please. Right, a few changes for the Arsenal game. And we picked up an injury to Russell Ross. He's going to be out for the next, well, it's the last game of the season. He's got a twisted ankle, so he's not going to be available to play for us today. So Stevanovic is going to come in on the right-hand side of midfield. We're going back to Andre Santos alongside White to be a proper defensive-minded player in there and have all the playmaking go through Watson. And then we're going with Jovic and Frangolo both coming in to that back 4 as well. in the hope that we don't concede as many goals in this one as we conceded against Wolves. Arsenal are always dangerous, although this is an Arsenal team that have finished in mid-table in the Premier League this season. I would imagine they're quite cross about it, and we'll be looking for goals today. So it would be quite nice if we didn't balls up and give them loads of goals. That's the plan. It's a very simple plan. Just try to avoid conceding lots of goals, which is why Santos has come back in. I have had a little bit of a look. I'm starting to prepare for summer at what our situation is regarding homegrown players, because obviously homegrown players, big deal once you get into Europe. We're going to have a bit of a problem this summer. I think we've only got 7 players in the entire squad who are homegrown in England. We have nobody who's homegrown at the club. Valente and Blanco become homegrown at the club in a year. And because they're both under 21 and been here 2 years, they won't need registering either. So I think we'll be fine with putting together a squad of 25. But we need to be a little bit careful with what we're doing this summer for transfers. And for example, someone like Sean Longstaff, who I have found, he's still here. We can't really move him on without replacing him with another homegrown in-nation player, because we haven't got enough of them. We can't bring in lots more Spanish players. So we need to be a little bit careful about what we're doing. Good news, I mentioned we would need another striker. Jonathan Tamang, who is homegrown in England, so counts towards that number, has got 5 goals in 8 appearances on loan at Celtic in the Scottish Premier League. So I said we need a new striker. He has now achieved full Wonder Kid status as an English Wonder Kid striker who's scoring goals in Scotland. So I think it's probably safe to say we can bring Tamang back into our first team squad next season. He was obviously a part of our squad first half of this season. Didn't really get a look in because he had Reyes, Watson and Ida all in his way. But with Watson now in midfield and Reyes is the only striker with Ida having moved on, Tamang would be first man off the bench most matches to come on and deputise for Reyes. So he's going to be back. He's going to be involved, and we probably don't need to buy a striker after all. I think we need to focus on fixing the midfield if this is what we're going to be doing, because I'm not confident on Santos as a starter, but and all these little fancy tippy-tappy midfielders that we've got that were beautiful in our tiki-taka, we probably need to get rid of several of them and bring in someone with a little bit more midfield steel who can do the job that Santos is doing in this team, but at a higher standard. There's a good example of Watson and Reyes working really well together, though. Watson is the playmaker out of midfield, slotting it into the path of Reyes. I can't believe we've gone all season trying to decide which one of those we should be starting, and they're both looking at their best. Now we're starting both of them. They were a partnership all along. Look at Watson pulling the strings out of midfield, and Sartori now gives it to Oscar on the overlap, who plays it back to White. White from, I mean, I don't know what he's trying to do there. He's taken it onto his weak foot. I think he's had a shot, but there were so many better options for the pass. It was just poor decision-making if that is a shot. And now Jesus is in for Arsenal. But Bosco? That's not his name. His name is Blanco. Why am I calling... Have I ever had a goalkeeper called Bosco before? I don't know why I wanted to call him that, but he made the save. that might be his new first name. Who knows? Blanco. It's a much easier name. It's an easier name to say. Goodness me. Reyes trying to force it past Ramsdale in goal for Arsenal, but can't. And now Arsenal with that counter-attacking opportunity. This is where our slightly different arrangement of defending should come in. And Oscar's just kicked him. And that'll do. I'm happy. Just kick him. Just kick him. That works for me. Maybe it's because they've got a Josko in their team. And I'd already read that and thought, oh, Arsenal have got Gvardiol. That's interesting. I'm going to blame that on my brain linking stuff together in a strange manner. Right, I don't know why they're playing an injured Vieira, who seems to have been injured since the start of the match. I'm not going to complain about it, but it does seem odd that they've left him on the pitch. If that was me, the comment section would be going wild, telling me that I had an England player, an injured player on the list. Words aren't working for me today, apparently. And we've conceded another goal. So the whole master plan of playing a more defensive midfielder in the hopes that the other team won't score loads of goals, not working. Don't want to see the replay. It makes me sad to see the replays. Santos is having a terrible match. I really like this system going forward. And once again, we're well ahead on XG. I think it's going to be very frustrating defensively. Am I enough of a monster to do it with a DM or 2 DMs, but keep that arrangement up front? I don't know that I am. Maybe we could do an asymmetric. We haven't done an asymmetric for a while. Sartori could probably play left midfield rather than left wing. We could, I mean, we could go. We're not going to do this. We'll switch back, but we could do something like this. It'd probably be like that, wouldn't it? We could go full on Football Manager hipster. I bet that works better. Should we just do it for the rest of this match? Bet that works better. We're going Football Manager hipster. Let's see what happens. Football Manager hipster incoming. What have I told Santos to be there? I think he actually is better as an anchor, so he can be an anchor. There we go. We've gone hipster. It's the last day of the season. What's the harm? We've already qualified for the Europa League. So we've lost our mind. Could we do this as a long-term thing? I don't know. I mean, it's worked there. The clerk, I mean, that was all about the changing the tactic, obviously. Because the advantage of doing this is that it allows us to play Watson where we want to play him, whilst still, I mean, I'm selling myself on this system. You still get Ross where you want him, you get Watson where you want him, you get Reyes where you want him, you still get the defensive midfield cover. And Sartori, Antas, Rojas, all our left wingers can play left midfield. There's a lot of reasons why this might be a sensible thing to do. I would feel a bit unclean doing it though. Right, made a couple of changes. Let's drag ourselves back into the football match. I mean, why not? Should we go? We have already gone attacking. When do we do that? Goodness me. The question now, of course, is do we leave this as a gegenpress, or are we going to do a version of this that involves tiki-taka-ring? Because you know I like a bit of tiki-taka-ring. Look, Rafa can go in there. Oh, it's all coming together, boys and girls. Watch us never do this again. But right now, I'm looking at this thinking, this is the future. There you go. All of our players can play in all of these roles. There's a lot of pressure on Harvey White or whoever ends up being in that role, but I don't know. It seems to fit the players that we've got. I mean, we've still lost this game, so ultimately, last day of the season experimentation, and it hasn't really worked, but it's something we could potentially do if we want to have a little bit more defensive cover whilst still getting the best out of Ross and Watson. Because Watson would probably be fine in the diamond, but Ross absolutely isn't. And we need the defensive cover of a DM. This is the only way to get all of those things, unless we somehow manage to become allowed to have that 12th player that I really want. So I'm starting to see why people use these horrible systems. Reyes should be scoring there. Goodness me, that was a big opportunity. It looks like it is a defeat on the final day of the season for us. Does this leave us 6th or 5th? Where's the league table? We'll finish 6th below Aston Villa, slightly ahead. You know what? Finishing ahead of Chelsea and Arsenal, that'll do. That's a pretty good season for us. We've ended up in 6th place. We're in Europe. We've got loads of money to spend. The question now, of course, is do I survive the summer without being headhunted by a bigger club? Because we are consistently overachieving. The Arsenal job is available. I'm a little bit surprised they haven't already come banging on my door. Just give it to Wilshere long term. I'm surprised I'm not already the Arsenal manager, to be honest. We shall see what happens. I'm not applying because I'm happy at Preston. That does surprise me a little bit, the way I've been performing. If you have enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. And thank you very much for watching.